Hey guys, welcome to my April reading wrap-up, and oh boy, was that a good reading month. Not only did I found my next 5-star read, I have also read the most during 1 month this year so far. And yes, I have just ripped off one of the book covers, and that's because I really disliked how square that one was compared to all the other ones. The reason it was square is because it is BBC radio drama collection of several Terry Pratchett's books, and because it is an audiobook, I could only find the square picture of it. When I was setting this page up, I thought it would be okay, but no, I really did not like it. So I decided to just sacrifice sides of this book cover and made it of the same dimensions as all the other ones. And it looks so much better now. Not only I am adding book covers of all the books I was reading and listening to during April, I am also filling out this calendar. I mark every single day I have read each book. And if there are books I was not reading every single day, I don't color in the day I was not reading that book. I know some people like to do like a full line from the first day to the last day they read a book, but that does not really work for me. I just really like to see days I was actually reading my books. And as you can see, I am doing a line and then I do write the book title on top of that. If I was doing a different line for every single book, I would maybe do not need to write down the title of each book in the calendar. And I was doing that last year, I think. Well, I tried to do that, but I really like how the writing looks in the calendar, so I keep doing that. As you can see, I have chosen 3 colors for this calendar: green, yellow, and a very pale cream color that I don't use that much, but it is there. And yes, updating this spread is taking me forever because I was reading 12 books during April. 12! I can't believe it myself. My most read books this year so far for a month was 6 books, but I have not finished all of them. I have finished 9 books and the last 3 will hopefully get read by the end of May. And honestly, I did not really think I would read that much, so I did not prepare as much space for all the book covers on the right side next to the calendar, but I somehow made it work. I was able to fit all 12 book covers in, and we still can see the frog, which I am so happy about. I would prefer if all the book covers were a bit higher on the page, but there is nothing I can do about it, and I really did not want to tear off every single book cover just because I want it like a half centimeter higher. So while I am doing that, let me tell you how upset I am about the glare on the girl on the left side. It just drives me crazy, and when I was editing the video of me working on this page, there was so much glare, and I tried so hard to make it not that frustrating, but honestly I could not do that much about it. So I tried to add a lot of footage from the side, but my hand is always in the way. It is what it is. Working with stickers and PET tapes can be sometimes tricky. And yes, if you have watched any of my previous reading wrap-ups, this one might seem slightly different, and that's because there are 9 books I need to tell you about, and honestly I do not have it in me to sit down and write a full review for every single one, because that takes me hours. I am so slow at thinking about stuff I would like to talk about, and then I have to write it down, then I have to read as a voiceover, and then I need to edit that. So I just skipped first 2 steps, and hopefully this video will make sense. Hopefully my reviews will make sense. If nothing else, it will definitely be honest. I believe I am done with this spread. Let's flip to the next page, and I am going to talk about the biggest letdown of this month. Katabasis by R.F. Kuang. Okay, let me read you the first sentence I have written in this review. I do have the journal in my hand right now, and yeah. I am not sure what I was expecting from Katabasis, but it for sure was not boredom. Yes, I am sorry, but I was so bored, especially in the middle section of the book. So for those of you who don't know what Katabasis is about, it is about two students of magic, and that is written Mačací. I just don't know why. Anyway, two students decided to go to hell to save their professor because he is supposed to give them a glowing review that will supposedly open the door for them for any job or basically anything they would like to do. Honestly, if you think about it, that is just so stupid. But okay, let's pretend that it makes sense. So they go into the hell and they start exploring, and there is this like floor system to the hell. The first, maybe even second floor, it was all interesting. I loved to hear what is going on in there, what are the kind of problems the souls in there are facing. But then it became extremely repetitive and I did lose interest, and the book felt never ending. The two students are Alice and Peter. So Alice is that overachieving girl who decided to work with Professor Jacob Grimes because he is the greatest magician in the world. But it turns out he is absolutely misogynistic and opportunistic. Okay, I just wanted to say a really bad word in here and I'm not going to. So I did not like him, and the more you keep getting to know about him, you just dislike him more and more. At least that was my experience with this book. During this story, we get a lot of scenes from the past and we see how he mistreated her and basically every single student that was working for him. Then we also get to know a little bit about Peter, the other student, and I enjoyed his past scenes so much more, but there were so little of them. I just wish to know more from Peter's perspective, especially because Alice was insufferable. I just did not like her at all, and that is the thing with R.F. Kuang's characters. They are not really likable, and that's fine, but she was just predictable and, as I said, frustrating. And there was one scene that I was listening to. I really hoped that I had a physical book in my hands and I could just throw it across the room because she was so stupid. Yes, she is supposed to be the greatest student in the year or something. And I don't know, she was just not it. So enough of me just hating on this book. There were some good parts. As I said, I really liked the Peter sections and I really liked the beginning as we were getting to know what is going on and all of that. But the rest of the book was not really it for me. I did finish it only because I was still hoping that there will be some amazing ending or something like that, because a lot of time with R.F. Kuang's books, if I don't like the story as much, then at least there is the ending that makes the book worthwhile to me. I don't know, with this one, it was not it for me. So I give it 2.5 stars and I think that's generous. And I guess that's about it about this book. So about the page, I have just spent working like 3 days on the pages in my movie journal and I have made them in completely different style. I opened this page, I looked at it and I told myself, okay, how do I make a spread? I had no idea what I was doing. I just did not even know where to start. So I kind of had to look through my previous pages and figure out what I would like to do. I found this very old paper I had lying around and I decided, you know what, it is Dark Academia enough. Let's just use it as a background for my pages. And I also had these Dark Academia stickers from Bujo. I'm sorry, I still don't know how to pronounce the name, but everything I use in this video will be linked in the description, so you'll find these sticker sheets down there as well. And they are absolutely perfect for every Dark Academia theme, and I was so excited I could finally use them. I have spent forever on deciding where to place each sticker and I did cut out so much of the footage. You would get frustrated by me because I am getting frustrated just looking at this footage. I guess I just needed to figure out how to get back into it. And all of those small squarish sticker sheets that you see me use from time to time, they are all from various Notebbok Therapy Washi Tape sets. So I don't think I will be able to link to all of them in the description. Probably none of them, but I will do my best. I will just have to figure out which sets those were, and I'm honestly not even sure they are still available, because every single time I am on the Notebbok Therapy website, I can't find the stuff I have if I want to link that to you. I have to somehow Google it, and then I can find these sets. I don't know how their website is set up, but it is, for me, it is not really user-friendly. But I love their washi tapes, so I am willing to put up with that. Okay, I am babbling so much anyway. I decided to work on this voiceover while I was having a good mood, because, yeah, if I am cranky, there is nothing I want to talk about. I really do hope this is interesting to you and that I am not annoying or anything. Anyway, the next book I am going to talk about, but not too much, is the Terry Pratchett BBC radio drama collection. And this is basically a collection of all the snippets of Terry Pratchett's books that were broadcasted in the BBC radio. I saw that on Libro FM. I thought, how amazing. And I decided to get it, and when I started listening to it, I have realized that it is maybe not as good for me as a person who have not read all of these books that were included in this collection. So first, let me tell you which books were there. So there was Mort, Weird Sisters, Guards, Eric, Small Gods, Nightwatch, and Only You Can Save Mankind. So out of those, I have read 4 books before, and when I knew the story, when I knew what was happening, I had a really good time with these fully dramatized snippets of the book. But if I did not know what the story was about, I got so confused all the time. Also, I have discovered that maybe dramatized versions of books are not my thing. Every single time there is music in the background, I simply cannot hear the spoken word. I just can't. So it was kind of frustrating at times, but it was very lovely made. And if you have read all of these books and maybe you would just like to get back into this world for a while, I would say this is a very good audiobook. Anyway, because I do not have that much to write about this audiobook, I decided to divide this page into 2 sections, and I will review another book in here, and that is Question 7 by Richard Flanagan. And this one is for bed. Because when I was going through my Read Around the World challenge results for 2025 and I was filling out all the maps and everything, I kept ignoring Tasmania. I just had a tunnel vision. I knew that I wanted to color in Australia and I did not see that Tasmania is down there, so I just kept ignoring it. And Beth posted a very lovely comment with timestamps. She did her homework, guys, for when I ignored Tasmania. After reading her review, I decided that, you know what, I am just going to find a book from Tasmanian author and I'm going to read it. So I went to Google, I found a few authors, and then I just spent some time on Libro FM and looked through what they had available. I found Question 7 by Richard Flanagan, and it was okay. It was a book, it was a solid 3-star, and you have to understand, guys, 3 stars for me is an okay book. I know there are people who think that 3 stars is like the trash. Not for me. 3 is just fine. Like, there is nothing amazing about it, but nothing bad about it either. It is just okay. Question 7 is basically a memoir. And when I was reading the synopsis, I understood that it is a story about a man working as a slave laborer near Hiroshima, and he got released after the bombing of Hiroshima. And that got me really, really interested. But I kind of ignored the rest of the synopsis. So the synopsis basically tells you everything that is in this book. The story starts with the affair of A.G. Wells, yes, the author, and Rebecca West. She was a journalist at the time and she was writing not really positively about his work. Then we somehow get to read about nuclear physics. And then we finally get to Richard Flanagan's father working as a slave. There was so little of that, but okay, I understand. And then we get to read about a young man who is trapped in a rapid on a wild river. He does not know if he will live or die. It is not what I was expecting from this book, but other than that, it was okay. I enjoyed all of these stories, except maybe the affair one. I was so not interested. If you are a person who likes reading memoirs and stuff like that, I am sure you will enjoy this book a lot. I might have enjoyed it more if it was something I expected to read, but honestly that is my fault. I just did not really read the synopsis right. Yeah, as I said, if you like memoirs and if you like reading about normal people, about history of family of a country, this book is really, really nice. And I have not addressed the Question 7 title. It is inspired by or referring to the Question 7 by Anton Chekhov. This is the way the book starts as well. So it says, Wednesday, June 17, 1881. A train had to leave Station A at 3 a.m. in order to reach Station B at 11 p.m. Just as the train was about to depart, however, an order came that the train had to reach Station B by 7 p.m. Who loves longer, a man or a woman? Yes, it is kind of nonsensical. You can't really answer that question. And this is also the way the author approached this whole book. Okay, I think I'm just talking in circles. So let's talk about next book I finished. And that is going to be the last book I finished in April, and that is Weyward by Emilia Hart. This is a story that was quite talked about when it was released in 2023, and it is a story about 3 women, each of them from different century, and they all are related to each other. We have Kate that lives in London in 2019. She flees her abusive partner and goes to the Weyward cottage. They all end up in the same cottage. So that's the Kate. Then we have Alta from 1619, and the book starts with the story of her awaiting trial for the murder of a local farmer who was stampeded to death by his cows. That was probably the most interesting storyline for me. And next we have Violet from 1942. She is a very lively child and she longs to be able to get educated, but of course because she is a woman she can't, but her brother can. And she is very jealous of him because he does not even appreciate the opportunity he has. And all of this seemed quite interesting when I picked up this book, but nothing that happened in this book was surprising in any way, shape or form in this story. Everything went basically as you imagined, and for all of these women to be witches in some kind of way, there was not enough witchiness to this book. So it is a story about 3 women that are very resilient and they are fighting the cards they were dealt with. And that's basically it. It was another okay read. To be honest, I expected a little bit more from this book. Also, I have to mention this. One of the narrators, there were 3 narrators, so 1 narrator for each of these characters, and 2 of them were very similar in voices to each other, so I never know whose story I was listening to, but that is not that made me go furious. But one of these narrators, you could hear every single swallow, and she must have been thirsty because she was swallowing a lot. And for someone who hates ASMR, I'm sorry, but I just can't stand it. Listening to someone just swallowing in your ear, it is, I would say, the worst type of ASMR you can get. And I understand, like, everyone is swallowing and all of that, but you are asking us to pay not small money for an audiobook, and no one bothers to edit it out. And that is not the only book. Every single month there is at least 1 book where I can hear swallowing or creaking chair or flipping pages or anything in the audiobooks, and I'm just getting really tired of that. I'm also listening to another book right now, and that is so annoying. I'm sorry, but I just went on a little rant about that. Let me know if you have that experience as well with audiobooks, or if I am just weird and I am the only one who is hearing that in their audiobooks. I have no idea what's going on with that, but it is becoming quite frustrating to me. Anyway, the decoration. I again had no idea what I would do for this page, but I found this girl in one of the Washi Tape shop Washi Tape rolls. I really liked the colors. They were almost matching with the cover of the book, and also it is one of the scenes that could happen in the book. So I decided to use that one in there, and there were also all of these little picture frames, so I put all of that on the page as well. And on the left side I had this black washi tape with plans from the Notebbok Therapy, and that felt like the perfect washi tape for this story, because Alta, the original witch, she was making potions and stuff like that. So the washi tape felt pretty on point, and I just matched it with this beautiful green gingham washi tape. I struggled a bit with this right bottom corner. I really did not know what else to put in there, because the book page I put in the background, it was quite big, so I don't know, it just made it more difficult for me to decorate. In the end, it turned out kind of okay, so I am happy with that. On the next page, I am working on a review for On Sundays, She Picked Flowers. I have chosen this book only because I needed a book with Day of the Week in the title for the Magical Readathon. Yes, I took part in Magical Readathon. I think I have not mentioned that yet. So yeah, I did take part in that. And despite me being in the biggest mood reading mood, I somehow managed to read for every single one of my classes, which is absolutely incredible. I picked this book only because of the prompt, because all of the other choices were only romance books, and I'm sorry, but I just can't read romance. It is not something I enjoy right now. So instead of that, I picked horror and it started strong. It started really dark, and I don't think it even stopped being dark and moody. It was interesting. So this is a story about Judith Rice. She's in her 30s and she has finally had enough courage to abandon her childhood home and her abusive mother. She finds a dilapidated house in the forest and she starts living in there. But it does not seem it is a regular house. It seems haunted. Also, the forest seems to have some secrets, and she is living there in peace for 13 years until one day there is this mysterious woman that appears on her doorstep. She is beautiful but unsettling, captivating but uncanny, and Judith finds herself desiring this stranger, but she is also caught by these brutal urges suddenly simmering beneath her skin. I don't know if I even described this book correctly. All I know is that it was a haunting, it was gothic, there were ghosts and there were animals and there was lots of blood and it was brutal. And when I finished this book, I thought that I need a therapist. It was really something. It was really, I don't know, there were definitely scenes that I will be remembering for a very long time. And these are not scenes that I would like to remember for a long time. If you like gothic, horror, queer, historical fiction, fantasy, give this book a try. It will definitely make you feel something. I don't know what, but it will make you feel something. Also, I have struggled so much with this page. I really wanted to use this girl with red dress because I thought it just fit so well with the cover page. I found this girl while I was looking for the girl on the left page, the one putting on socks. So I decided to have both of them in here, and because this is a very dark story, I just put black paper as the background because why not? I just wanted to make this slightly different than all my previous pages. And I also added this dark green and orange and yellow floral tape because it again felt really fitting with the cover page of this book. Yeah, it just somehow went from there. It is not my favorite page, but I would say it turned out okay. It is slightly different than my usual decorating style, and I had totally different plan for this page, but because I used the washi tapes on the left side vertically, it felt really strange having the washi tape on the right side going along the bottom of the page. So I decided to flip it to go along the right edge, and it made this whole page completely different than what I kind of low-key planned for this page. Maybe that's why I am not as happy with this page, because I was expecting this to look slightly different, but if you look at it without any expectations about how it should have looked, it's kind of okay. Anyway, let's flip to the next page, because there are still 4 more books I need to talk about today. 4 more books. Okay, I can't believe I have read that many books in April. That is just so wild. Anyway, this spread I'm going to divide into 4 sections, and this will be for books that I don't really have that much to write about, because like not every single book needs to have a full page review or anything like that. I have to admit, I did pressure myself to make full page spreads when I started with my reading journal, but I soon realized that not every book needs a full page review, and it is totally okay if you don't make a review or if you just write a few sentences, and that's totally it. So that's what I am embracing on this spread. And yes, there is place for 4 book reviews, but I'm actually going to only include 3 books in here, and then I will make absolutely amazing spread for the last book. So the first one, okay, this title is in Slovak. So it goes like Mačací kožuch a ťava pri Čínskom múre. This probably did not tell you absolutely anything, but the translation goes something like that. Cat's fur coat and a camel near the Great Wall of China. It still does not make sense. But this is a book written by a Slovak woman. She is from Eastern Slovakia, SMI. One day she decided that she will go study in Taiwan. She learned the language and she went, which for someone who was raised in Eastern Slovakia, that is not something you are allowed to do. Like, she is amazing. So she went there, and the whole time she was there, she kept writing a blog. It had become quite popular, so she decided to publish a book with all the stories she put on her blog, and that's basically what this book is about. These stories are very, very short. It is like 1 or 2 pages, maybe 3, so it was a very quick read. There were so many moments where I chuckled. I have also realized how different we all are. I loved the section when her Taiwanese friends visited Slovakia and how they reacted to everything. And I so wish this section would be much, much longer. But of course, they were here for only a few days or maybe weeks. I guess days. So you don't really have that much to write about. And the last section was about when she was living for a while in China. That was also interesting. But I have to say, when they were here in Slovakia, that was my most favorite section of the book. And then all of her happenings in Taiwan, it was really, really interesting, and I learned a lot. This was a book from a Slovak author, which means it is an addition to my Read Around the World challenge. I am so excited that I have finally read a book from my own country. One thing I have to mention is the decoration. This girl is so lovely. This is from one of the newest washi tapes from the Washi Tape shop. Well, this is a PET tape, but anyway. I have saw this on their website and I immediately buy the whole set. There are 2 PET tapes or washi tapes in this set, and I just had to have them. And I was looking for an opportunity where I could use these tapes, so it will be here on this page. This girl is from one PET tape, and for the next book I'm going to use a girl from another PET tape. I have chosen these 2 mostly because they were kind of matching with colors to the book covers, slightly with theme as well, and I just wanted to have them both look into the page. So I was looking for one girl that was looking to the right and another to the left. That is why I have chosen the designs I have chosen, and I adore them so much. So the next book I have read is The Crossed. That is the book 2 in the Matched series. I have started last year thanks to one of your guys' suggestions. I was having such a great time with this book. I of course can't really talk about it because I would spoil a lot. This is YA dystopian sci-fi romance, and everything is decided for our characters by society, even who they are supposed to marry. But of course our main character is special. Both of our main characters are special, where 3 of our main characters are special. And stuff happens, okay? Stuff happens, and we suddenly have this love triangle in here that is not a love triangle. We all know who she wants to end up with. And in book 2, we are in completely different environment and our characters are looking for each other. And I'm not going to tell anything more. I'm just going to say that I had a great time and I was able to finish this book so soon because I was watching the Magical Readathon 24-hour streams that are happening always somewhere in the middle of the month. And G, the mastermind behind this readathon, she gave us words to look for while we are reading. So of course this made me read this book so much more because I wanted to get those points. I'm not going to say that I am not reading during reading sprints, but more often than not I am working on my videos or I'm doing something else. But this time I sat down and I read because I wanted those points. I managed to read like full second half of this book, maybe even more. I just kept reading and I was having a great time with the story, so of course that helped. And I got few points, not that many, but I got few, which I am thankful for. And yeah, that's the story behind this book. There is one more book in this series and honestly I have no idea where this is going. The ending was kind of cliffhangery, so I'm curious to see what happens and how this all will end up. This is not like the most perfect story, but you know what guys, I'm having a great time. For some reason I really like young adult dystopian books. No matter how maybe bad they are, I'm not saying this is bad, but this is something I really enjoy reading. Okay, next we have Project Hail Mary by Andy Weir. I have read this book 2 years ago, I think. I have listened to it because the narration by Ray Porter is absolutely phenomenal. So I once again listened to this book and I was having such a great time. Before that, I watched the movie and it was great. I thought it was really nice, but I am so glad I have read this book the second time after I watched the movie. If I have read this before the movie, just like short time before the movie, I guess I would be not as excited about the movie as I was. So yeah, that's my take. And yeah, I am not a person who reads books that close to finishing them. I just need like 5 or 10 years before I read the book again. But once again, I needed to fulfill a prompt for the Magical Readathon, and that was reread. So I chose Project Hail Mary. Also, I am taking part in Adventures in Eldia. That is also happening in the Magical Readathon universe. And my prompt for April was author with the W in their name. And Andy Weir, here we come. I suddenly could read only one book for 2 prompts. And I just could not let this opportunity slip away. I again had absolutely amazing time. And who knows, maybe this book will be one book that I will be able to reread more often than usual. I don't know, there is something magical about this book. And this time I actually had the actor and Rocky in my head. I just knew what to envision when I was listening to this book. And yeah, it was a lot of fun. So if you have not read this book yet and you liked the movie, you definitely have to read this book. And yes, I recommend you to listen to the audiobook. Okay, and finally the last book for today. Okay, I can't believe we are finally here. This is the Don't Let the Forest In by C.G. Drews. I have done something slightly different. I decided to give you updates as I was listening to this book. I don't know if this will make any sense, but let's just listen to what I have recorded, okay? Let's just do that. I have not listened to these snippets yet since I have recorded them, so I don't know what we are going to listen to, but here we go. I have just listened to the first 2 chapters of the Don't Let the Forest In. It is narrated by Michael Crouch, and I am enjoying myself so much. I absolutely love the way it is written, and I am enjoying basically every single sentence. I've been thinking for a long time about maybe updating you from time to time on a book as I am reading it. I, of course, will try to not spoil anything. I will talk about stuff that is mentioned in the synopsis as well. And where I am now in this book, well, nothing much happened, so I think I can tell you all my first impressions. This story is centered around two boys. One of them is Andrew. He is very silent. I think he is introverted. I'm not sure if it was mentioned in the story yet. And he is writing kind of twisted fairy tales, which does not compute well with his parents, of course. But his friend Thomas, he absolutely loves these fairy tales and he is amazing at drawing. So he basically draws what Andrew writes. They are, of course, best friends. I think Andrew has feelings for Thomas, and the story starts basically at the last day of the school. And Andrew puts in Thomas's bag a fairy tale about his feelings to him or something like that. I just found it so cute. So then each of them goes their own way and they are not together for the next few months. I am not sure for how long. Then there is the time skip and the school starts and Thomas is acting strangely. Thomas is the kind of like a bad boy of the school. He likes to break all the rules and he basically does whatever he wants. And teachers are okay with that for some reason because he can draw beautifully. I don't know. It's so weird. But this school is for children of rich people, so I guess they can get away with more than normal people. He is this bad boy, and right from the beginning of the school year, something does not feel right to Andrew, and he is trying to figure out what is going on, and at the same time, he's thinking about whether Thomas read his letter and whether he has same feelings for him or not, or whether he is just ignoring that completely. Something about the writing makes it so amazing, so atmospheric. I can feel the dread in the air, and something is for sure going to happen pretty soon because there is this feeling of something in the air, something happening. Also, police wanted to talk to Thomas about his missing parents, and he has some blood on his sleeve, so there is this whole thing and much happened. So many feelings happened in just, I am in chapter 2. I am enjoying this a lot and I am curious to see where the story goes and whether I will enjoy it as much later. So these are my first impressions of the book. Okay, so Andrew has twin sister, Dao. She is nothing like him. She is very outgoing and she seems to have lots of friends. Andrew has only one friend and that's Thomas. And for some reason, sister is keeping distance from him. They are not talking. There seems to be something going on between her and Thomas. And Andrew is jealous of his sister because he thinks she likes Thomas. It's just so cute because I don't think that's what is happening. I am also very introverted and I know that we can overthink so much stuff. And I totally understand Andrew. So that's why maybe I'm having a great time with this book. So far, everything was from Andrew's perspective, so I'm curious to see if we get any other POVs or if it will be only Andrew. Andrew just described their dining room, that there are only these 3 long tables and it is supposed to keep people talking to each other and be mindful of each other. And Andrew just described this as the ultimate hell for every introvert, and I so loved that because, yeah, I totally understand. Something had happened at the end of last semester. No one will tell me what, and everyone keeps looking at them weird, and I'm really curious what had happened. And of course, there is a bully. Of course, there is one. And you know what? I think he will not be alive by the end of this book. I just don't want him to be alive at the end of this book. Okay, so there is something weird going on with his sister as well. Okay, I love this. So she very quickly packed her bags and ran out of the library as soon as she saw this girl with combat boots or something like that. It turns out she is part of a pride club and she invited Andrew to join. He said no because new people, like I understand, but also because he thinks he is not gay enough. And I'm sorry, but I laughed so hard. I guess maybe he is not gay, but he is fixated way too much on the one person that understands him. I am somehow analyzing Andrew because I don't know, we are constantly in his head, so I guess I don't have anything else to do right now. Also, we are like 15% into the book, and for the book titled Don't Let the Forest In, there was no forest yet. We finally got into the forest. We were there for like a minute. We have seen a tree and something weird happening, and we are not in the forest anymore. There is some arguing between everyone. Okay, I am interested to see where this is going. There are some supernatural things happening. It is gross. I think this has to do something with his stories. Oh, those mushrooms. No, thank you. Do you know what's worse than student bully? Teacher bully. Oh my god, I hate him so much. Well, that got resolved quite quickly. We are almost at the end of the book and I still have no idea what happened in the forest last semester. So please, somebody tell me. It is not going in a way I thought it would, but I absolutely do not mind that. I really love where this is going right now. Okay, and that was the last thing I recorded before I have completely forgotten to update you. I loved the ending. The plot was plotting, twists were twisting. I just had such a great time with this book. Immediately after I finished the audiobook, I bought the physical copy because I just have to have this on my shelf. I really loved the writing, and right now I am not sure if there is anything more written by D.G. Drews. I hope there is, because I want to read more from this author. Also, this page, guys. This page, I am speechless. I am so happy with it. It is so much better than I envisioned when I was preparing to work on this page. And let me tell you, I procrastinated on this spread for so long. It is the reason that this spread is done last, even though this book, I finished it somewhere in the middle of the month. I am not working on these pages in the order I finished those books. I always end up just working on them all at once and spending days and days and days on this video, but it is my favorite video to make. Anyway, this spread is absolutely amazing. It may be even better than I hoped it would. Let me know what do you think about it. I think this is my best spread of this year so far. Also, yes, I have included a quote in here because I just loved it. I wanted to add some more contrast to this black page, so I decided to stamp it on this brown paper. And yeah, that's about it for all of my reviews. I really hope this made sense because, I don't know, I can't even tell you what I was talking about for the last 2 hours because I just kept talking. Anyway, let's work on my yearly trackers. Let's flip to the beginning of this journal as always. The first thing is my reading goal, and I have finished 9 books in April, which means I am at the number 25. That is crazy, guys. And as you can see, I have chosen this lovely yellow color. I was going to choose green, but then I realized the green is already in here and I did not want to have 2 greens next to each other. So I'm doing yellow and it is cute as well. I love how much this spread has filled up with coloring in these 9 squares. Guys, I still can't believe I have finished 9 books. That's just so much. Okay, this is done. I love all the colors I have used in here so far. Okay, next we have to add book covers for everything. I have read, I am adding books in here in order I have finished them. So let's quickly do that. And yes, I have shortened titles in there, just so I don't have to think about it that much while putting stuff in here. And with all of this in, I have almost half of this spread full, which is absolutely amazing. But guys, I know that next month I won't be reading as much because it is already next month, and yeah, I guess I have read so much in April, and now I'm just not really feeling like reading much. Also, I'm having lots of trips in May, so that kind of hinders my reading, but that's fine. This is not competition. I can read how much or how little I want. Okay, next we have my reading statistics. They are already filled in, and look at this number. I have read with my eyes exactly 1000 pages. That is just insane. And yes, I have kept it at 1000 pages purposefully. I have looked at my Storygraph statistics. I think it was April 28, and I have seen this beautiful 1000 in there, and I told myself, you are not going to read with your eyes anymore this month because that is just a perfect number. Honestly, I was not even in a mood to read with my eyes, so it's not like I made myself stop reading. Also, I listened to so much more audiobooks this time. And okay, what's interesting in here? I have read the smallest books so far, so the average page count was 320, but I have read the most in average on each day, which is 96 pages. That is crazy. These are my ratings. I just love how it goes 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. And the average rating is 3.83, which is the best so far this year, which I love to see. That's all my statistics. Now let's color in some boxes. I just love this so much. Let's start with genre. And I think I have read quite a lot of genres. Let's see if I am right. The first book was fantasy. Then 5th book as well, and the 9th one as well. And yes, I am kind of coloring this in order they were finished, but it's totally fine if I make some mistakes. It does not really matter anyway. Then I have read 2 non-fiction books, which, yeah, that is unbelievable. So let's color these 2 in. I have memoir section in here, so I guess I should color one of these with this pink color, because the question 7 was a memoir, so I'd like to have it noted in there. Okay, then there were some sci-fi books, so of course Project Hail Mary, and the crossed is sci-fi and romance, so I will color in 1 square for sci-fi and 2 for romance. I have also read 2 horrors this month. Okay, perfect. I did not add that many new colors to this tracker this time, but I added quite a lot of different colors, which I am very happy about. Okay, now books by length. So let's see, the first one, the Katabasis, was over 500 pages long, so I should use this blue marker for that. And there was no other book that long. Next there was that Slovak book, and that was 256 pages. That's this muted pink color. And the next non-fiction was also over 200 pages. And on Sundays She Picked Flowers was also only little over 200 pages. And I don't know, it kind of felt a bit longer, I'm not going to lie. Next, let's go to 400s, and that's this purple. So that was Project Hail Mary and Crossed. And I am left with books that were between 300 and 400 pages long. That was the Don't Let the Forest In and Weyward. And the Terry Pratchett BBC radio drama collection does not have page number, of course, because it is audio collection. So I just looked at other books I have read and I estimated the number of pages it could have had, and I came up with number 370. So I am coloring it with this pink color as well. Okay, this looks lovely. Now we have 2 more trackers to fill in. Okay, I need to put something under the page. Perfect. The first one is year published. I did not really go crazy on the years this time. I read a book from 2025. Okay, this is crazy how all of these are green. That's so fun. Then we have 2020, and I'm using same color for all the books between 2016 and 2020. So let's see how many I have in here. 2020, 2018, and 2020 again. And again with books between 2021 and 2023. So I have the question 7 was published in 2023. And Project Hail Mary in 2021. Perfect. Now for 2024, that was Don't Let the Forest In. Oh, I have missed one. I have missed Weyward. That was 2023. Okay, so I have broken the streak of dark greens, but this is also green. And what I have missed here? Oh, it was Crossed, published in 2011, and that's this pink color. So let's add that in here. Oh, that's the first pink. Oh, that's fun. I love that I could add 2 new colors this time to this tracker. And the last one is books by rating. And I had quite a lot of different ratings this time. We are starting, sadly, with 2.5. But everything from now on will be better. So that's good. A 4-star. So that's this beautiful green. I just love this color so much. Then a 3-star, that's purple. I'm just going to color this in the order because I keep getting confused while I am coloring this in. Then we had a 5-star, yeah. So that's this beautiful dark color. Okay, there will be one more 5-star, which I'm so excited about. 3.5. I feel like I'm using so many colors in here. Which is good. Then 4.5, then a 4, now a 5. I love that I already have 4 5-star reads this year so far, which for some of you that might not be a lot, but for me it is. Last year I was struggling with my reads so much, so seeing 4 5-stars in here is absolutely amazing for me. Okay, and the last book was a 3-star. So let's add this purple in. And again, I had a green column and I just ruined it. But that's totally fun. I love when there are so many colors mixed together. Okay, and that's it for all the coloring. Now let's see my classics and non-fictions. I have not read any classic, but I have read 2 non-fictions, which is absolutely awesome. Let's put them quickly in. Perfect. Okay, here we have a series tracker. I continued a series. I continued the matched series. Okay, that's here. And I can't forget this square. And I guess that's it. Yeah, no other series for me this time. Read my shelf. This is for all the physical books I own. And no, I have not read any of them. But I'm currently reading 2. So hopefully next month we will be able to add something in here. Now for my Libro FM purchases, that is a completely different story because I have 5 book covers to add in here. Question 7. Then on Sundays, she picked flowers. Okay, that's here. Katabasis is next to that. The Terry Pratchett BBC drama collection. I have bought this at the end of last year, I think, so I'm happy I finally got around to that. And the last one is Don't Let the Forest In. Next are my Audible purchases, and I have nothing to add in here, and I kind of stopped using Audible. My goal is to read everything that I have bought already. I only look at their site when there are some sales or something like that, but my default option is now Libro.fm website, and more often than not I do find there what I'm looking for, and they also have sales. And I have found quite a lot of books I was thinking about reading in their sales, so I'm really happy I could get some of them for a really cheap price. Okay, let's flip to the next page. I have bought nothing and I have unhauled nothing. Of course, we have to add Don't Let the Forest In to the Hall of Fame. Now for the favorite quotes, I have added one in here, and that's from the Don't Let the Forest In, and it goes like, "You could cut me open and devour everything that I am. I would let you, I would ask you to, but I have no idea what it means to you, what I mean to you." I just love that so much. Next, there are descriptions of every single book in one sentence. Okay, let me find... Yeah, I am trying not to put spoilers in here, but I don't know, some people consider spoiler everything. So if you don't want to risk it, just skip 10 or 15 seconds ahead. I have here the one with incredibly boring health trip, the one with Slovak girl studying in Taiwan, the one I read because I forgot Tasmania exists, the one with an adorable alien, the BBC radio one, the one when they found each other, the one that made me consider therapy, and the one with 3 witches. Next we have places I have visited. I have put England and Cumbria in here for Weyward, Virginia for Don't Let the Forest In, Cambridge University, England for Katabasis, and the Tau Ceti system outer space for Project Hail Mary. Next we have 26 in 2026. I can add nothing in here today, but I can add so much to the Rainbow Challenge. The first book is the... Okay, I can't always refer to this book as the Slovak one. So this is the Mačací, kožuch a ťava pri Čínskom múre, the cat's fur coat and camel near the Great Wall of China. That's a really weird title, but it's okay. So I put this in for red, because red is a pretty big and noticeable part of that cover. For dark green, I am having Katabasis. And for lighter green, I am putting in Weyward. And I'm so excited. I could fill in the greens already, because if you have watched my channel for a while, you know that last year I struggled with green book covers so much in my Read the Rainbow Challenge. So I'm happy this is already filled in, but I have a feeling that I will have some problem with these 3. But we'll see. There are still so many months to go. Okay, and I'm putting crossed for blue. Now, perfect. Okay, next there is A to Z challenge. I can add one book cover in here. That's question 7 for Q. And I kept forgetting the My Best Friend's Exorcism book cover, but not this time, guys. This time I remembered, so let's put that in. Okay, this is getting pretty filled in, and oh my god, guys, we filled in the full row. That is so amazing. Next, oh my god, bingo. I have so much to add in here and I'm so excited. Let's just go by the order of the book covers I have in here. The first one is Project Hail Mary, and I am going to color in the laughed out loud prompt for this one, because this book had so many amazing moments when I literally laughed out loud. And the bingo square this will go to is 01, so that's this one. Okay, next book cover is the Cat's Fur Coat one, and this one goes for book in Slovak or Czech language. And this one goes in I2. Yeah, we had nothing in this row so far, so that's lovely. Next, question 7. That goes for number in the title. Okay, I'm doing such a bad job at coloring this in. And this is I3. Okay, so only I's and O's. I3. Don't Let the Forest In goes for a book I want everyone to read. If you can stomach it, of course, because it is pretty dark and gory, but I had such a great time with this book. And that is N4. That is here. Oh, I just love how this is filling out. Next is Crossed, and that's for one word title. And that goes in B5. Oh man. Okay guys, I am so close to the first bingo. That would be so fun if this was I5. What I chose this for? I think I have to go with predictable for this one, because there is nothing that surprised me with this book. And that is I1. Okay, that was so close. So close to being I5. But you know what? I am not mad at this, because just like that, we are so close to 2 bingos. That is so fun. And let's flip to the next page. This is my Reading in Pixels spread. As you can see, it is already filled in. I am so excited that there are more of these darker colors on both pages. That means that I have been listening to audiobooks for the longer time, or I have read more pages, and that's about it. So this is for my audiobooks, and this is for my physical and digital books. And that's it, because I have read no arcs in April. And now we can actually open my other reading challenges journal. Let's put that back. This one. So in here I do have reading challenges that would take me more years to finish, and also yearly challenges that I find online and I really want to join, but I don't really need to have them in my regular reading journal. So we can start actually with my Read Around the World challenge, and I can finally add a book in here for my home country, for Slovakia. So let's find it. Yeah, and let's add the book cover in there. Okay, this is quite small. Why is it so small? Okay, so I totally butchered this, but it is fine. When I will be printing some more stuff later, I will print a bigger version, because this is laughably small. But I have to have this in here, otherwise I will forget. So I just glued that in there, and I can add the star rating. It was a 4-star read, so it's 4. And this is book number 21 I have finished in this challenge. And I can also color in this map, so Slovakia is right here. Oh, perfect. I am so glad I finally read a book from Slovakia. I guess that's it for this challenge. But I am also going to color in Tasmania for Bet. Bet, this is for you. So this time I did not forget about it. Okay, I'm having so much fun with this. And I can't forget to, of course, scratch off Slovakia on my sketch of map. So Slovakia is right here. It is very, very small country, so it is already done. And of course, Tasmania. Okay, perfect. And now this is it for the Read Around the World challenge. Next I have Terry Pratchett reading challenge. Even though I have listened to 7 of his books, I do not consider them the full books, so I am not going to add anything in here. Now for the Year of Goober, let's see, April. So we could read either for Hot Cross Bun, book linked to tradition, or Chocolate Chip Cookie, a nostalgic read. Well, the Project Hail Mary was definitely nostalgic to me, but I'm going to mark in the book linked to tradition because it was the Slovak book. There was a lot of talk about traditions, and it seems I also forgot to print a book cover for that, but it's fine. I will just write the title in here for now. Okay, and now I have the buzzword reading challenge, and we can add stuff in here as well. I am putting crossed for one word title, and don't let the forest in for instructional title. I love how this is getting filled in, and no, I am not doing this in the order it should be done. I'm just reading whatever, and if it fits in here, it fits. Okay, and the last reading challenge I have in this journal is jellyfish reading challenge, and I can add some stuff in here. I am putting on Sundays she picked flowers for book with plants on the cover or in the title. Then crossed for book with fragile vibe, glass, clear, breakable. I think this is kind of fitting since she is breaking out of her bubble. Okay. And for book with something upside down on the cover or with the plot twist, I'm going with the Slovak one because this part of the book cover is upside down. And I guess that's it for all the challenges. Let's go and look once again at what I have created today. This is the April cover page. I have not made this today, but I still had to show you because this is absolutely beautiful. When I first made this page, I was not the biggest fan, but now when I look at it, I just love it so much. And here I have all the books I was reading in April. I have not finished 3 of those, but all of these, as you already know, I have finished. Now, a spread for Katabasis and Terry Pratchett radio drama and question 7. I feel like something is missing in here. I don't think this reads like 2 separate entries, so I guess I'm just going to add some boxes in here. I think that might make it look better. Let's just do that. Okay, do this. Okay, that looks better. Now I kind of think that I need to add a frame on this page as well. So I'm going to do that. Okay, done. And yeah, it looks better this way, which is a relief. I absolutely adore this paper I have used in here. I have that from very old book, and I'm so glad I saved a few pages of that because it looks absolutely perfect. And it is not in the Slovak or English or Czech language, which does not make me want to read it, because when I see text in language I can read, I just always try and read it. This is, I think, in German. I can read German and I do understand it slightly, but it's not making me wanting to read it. So I am glad about that. Okay, next we have page for Weyward. I was so not sure how to decorate this page, but in the end it turned out kind of cute. Well, it kind of looks like this part of the decoration is one thing and this is completely different, but you know what? I don't really care. I still think it is pretty lovely. And this I also had so much trouble with while working on this page, but again, it turned out lovely. It is definitely something different than what I am usually making, which is always fun. Okay, and next we have 3 small entries, and these girls are definitely stealing the show. These stickers are just so beautiful. And I have space for one more book review. I just did not want to make a full page for something when I know that I don't really want to do that. So this, I think it will get filled in next month. Okay, and now for my favorite spread out of this whole setup. I love it so much. And I love all of these. They are probably not easily seen in the video, but I edit all of these branches and I just love how that looks. And I also continued the writing a little bit in this section because otherwise this would be like a block of black paper with some flowers in, and this way it feels a bit more included. And with that is everything I have for you today. I really hope you had a good time watching me working on these pages, hearing me talking about all of these books. Let me know if you have read any of those, or if there are books that piqued your interest and you might add them to your TBR. I would love to hear your thoughts. Thank you so much for watching. Have absolutely a lovely day, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.